I was invited to see Season 19 early, and I'm not kidding, I got to see one of the most hype patches that I've seen in a very long time, with huge changes to the meta and to the maps, and one of the most awaited features that we've had in Apex in the last 3 years. That's right, cross progression is coming, baby! But before we dive into how all of this will work, I just want to give a huge, heartfelt thank you to EA for including me in this event. But without further ado, let's talk about cross progression. There's been tons of rumors circulating about cross progression for a while now, with Respawn not really wanting to make any clear announcements too early. But this time around, it's clear that they mean business. And honestly, this might be the best way it could have been pulled off. With the launch of Season 19, any users who log in are automatically opted into the cross progression, where all the accounts under the same EA ID will be merged together. This combines all the accounts, legend tokens, Apex coins, cosmetics and skins, stats and ranked under the highest level account, and anything gained will now be granted to this account moving forward. So yeah, don't trust the leaks you saw, those guys were completely wrong. These are absolutely great news, and now I feel bad that I don't have a Nintendo Switch with the Pathfinder skin lying around. But I am telling you right now, these are about to become a hot commodity. And something else that might be a hot commodity is of course respawn banners. Because respawning is getting a huge buff this season, when you get respawn, you will now receive the same level shield that you had when you died, you will receive both of the weapons that you had, assuming they aren't care package weapons, and of course you won't have any attachments equipped, and 2 stacks of ammo per weapon. But of course that's not the only new thing we're getting, as with Season 19, we're also getting a new legend, that being Conduit. And it's an incredibly strong legend both supporting your teammates with alleviating pressure and securing space, as well as applying pressure to the enemy team and taking space at the same time, significantly increasing the survivability of her team in combat. With her passive Savior Speed, that allows her to run faster towards her teammates, more than fast enough to keep up with high mobility legends such as Pathfinder or Revenant. Her tactical Radiant Transfer allows her to temporarily restore destroyed shields as long as the target doesn't take any more damage, and her ultimate Energy Barricade creates a barricade of 7 shield jamming devices that damage and slow any enemies that pass through them. The barricade can be used both defensively to cut off an enemy team from getting closer, or thrown far ahead of them to cut off their escape, giving you tons of options in how you would want to use the ultimate as well. And it's safe to say that the potential for skill expression here is incredibly huge, and there will be a massive difference between who can place the Conduit ultimate the right way and those who just grief their own team. And that is really exciting and all, and even better, I have a guide coming up for Conduit in the near future, so make sure you've subscribed not to miss it. But alongside the new legend, what tons of you guys have been looking forward to is of course storm point changes. The map has seen tons of changes to plenty of its POIs, both in the center of the map, specifically around the former Jurassic and the island to the west of it, with a brand new POI, as well as the complete removal of prowlers and plenty of new Watson and electricity themed structures. But the most vital changes are around the edges of the map. Fish farms and lightning rod are completely gone, and the map is a lot smaller, with a higher amount of loot and concentration of loot overall, making the games flow a lot better and play out a lot faster than the previous iterations of the map. The developers said that they touched about 40% of the map and focused on infusing it with more action-oriented and fast-paced gameplay. Fun fact, Respawn developers also said that they know that Stormpoint is hailed as the map with tons of competitive integrity, and speaking of competitive integrity, let's talk about the ranked changes. While yes, I do know that there's been some ranked changes announced already, where there no longer is a limit to what ranks can be queued up together, along with some other smaller changes, they very much pale in the comparison of what is coming, because with Season 19, Respawn are introducing promos. When ranking up between ranks, the user has to complete a set of challenges known as promotional games. These challenges are usually things such as winning 1 match or placing top 10 3 times while also getting free kills or assists, that the player gets 5 chances of completing. If the player fails, they get relegated back down into their rank, with how far they get relegated back depending on their performance in those promos. The higher ranked you are, the more brutal failing your promos will be. For example, a diamond player will get relegated much farther than a gold player just by default. If you fail your promotional matches, once you get back, you will get an additional try every time you make it back, giving you up to 10 chances to complete the promo match challenge. I'm personally really looking forward to this change, because while it's not perfect, it will make ratting to rank up so much harder to pull off, because you're forced to play for actual in-game objectives rather than just sitting around and hoping to collect 10 LP per game, which eventually puts you over the cusp to get the new rank. Any change that gets us closer to actually playing the game properly is going to be a good one. In addition to this, completing a ranked season will now reward you with a pretty cool looking permanent banner instead of a limited edition trail. The ranked rotation will be Stormpoint, Olympus, and Broken Moon. Moving on, we have so much more to talk about because there are plenty of weapon changes coming up as well. I couldn't think of a better segue, so, let's just move on. So let's talk about weapons. We're seeing some changes to the long-range diversity with the sniper rifles Longbow, Sentinel, and Charge Rifle all seeing an increase in their projectile size, meaning that their bullets are larger and easier to hit targets with. In addition to that, the Charge Rifle is also seeing a change to its weapon ballistics for longer ranges, which I assume means that it's going to be faster or have less of a drop over longer range. The bow check now has a faster first shot draw speed and a tighter spread when you use the shatter caps, as well as a way to toggle whether you want shatter caps or to fire a singular arrow instead. On the flip side, the Hemlock and the 30-30 are seeing some nerfs, where the 30-30 now has a larger hipfire spread on successive shots, and the Hemlock has less damage overall. And this is a huge one. The Wingman will enter the care package with a boosted loader as well as something they call the Skull Piercer Elite permanently equipped, as well as with a huge overall damage buff. It takes the place of the L-Star, which returns as ground loot, and because of the Wingman, the boosted loader is no longer available as ground loot. The Volt and R31 now enter the Crafter, taking the place of the 30-30 and the RE35 that return to the ground. But that is not the only change to the Crafter, because gone are the Digidays. That's right, the digital threats can no longer be crafted, and it can only be found in the world. And finally, another change I'm really glad that they're doing, the Turbocharger nerf has been reverted. Equipping a Turbocharger will no longer remove 1 damage from the Havoc or the Devotion. This change on its own is huge, and I'm wondering whether that will bring those previously, honestly, underrated weapons back into the meta or not. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But what we don't have to wait for are legend changes, like Catalyst nerfs, finally. Her tactical piercing spikes no longer shoot up and act as a barrier or shield for projectiles. Any projectiles or shots will instead go straight through and just damage her. She can now place 2 tacticals instead of 3, and the throw range of her tactical has been significantly reduced to be more in line with other controller legends. In addition to that, the lifetime of her ultimate wall has been nerfed slightly, and the ultimate cooldown now starts once the wall goes down, not immediately after it starts casting. But with the good comes the bad, because Bangalore is also being hit by some nerfs. Sorry, ship. The speed boost duration from Bangalore's passive has been reduced, the lifetime of her smokes has also been reduced, and finally the stun from being hit by the ultimate has been reduced as well. As for Wraith, supposedly her passive is going to be more reliable, so who knows, maybe we're finally done with my favorite joke, the hindsight of the void once and for all. Pathfinder receives a pretty cool quality of life change I can't believe they hadn't done already, but I'm glad that they actually did it. He can now scan packages using the Skirmisher passive even if a Skirmisher on his team already has scanned it. Revenant's ultimate time extension window was reduced from 30 seconds to 3, Vantage now packs another bullet in her ultimate, leading to 6 in total, and Newcastle also sees some buffs to his ultimate as well, with an increased max leap height, as well as a reduced recovery time from his ultimate to allow him to jump more aggressively without that small animation stun lock before he can shoot. And yeah, while this is all I can reveal at the moment, there are so many more things and details that I can't share just yet. I'll keep a list with all of the details on my Twitter, so make sure to check that out and drop a follow while you're at it. I'll make sure to link it in the description. If you want to learn more about the new season, check out the video on the screen, subscribe not to miss the new content, and I'll see you all tomorrow.